Alright everybody, this is Martin here, back with round number 2 of this Legacy Daily, up 1-0, thanks to beating lands. You can find the list underneath the video. As always, I didn't know what I was playing against at the time. I'm playing Storm, of course. Yeah, turns out I'm up against a Burning Wish Omni deck. Yeah, let's see how we go. So I lose the die roll again, and I get this hand, very serviceable. Never shipping something like this. We have a cantrip, some mana, and some protection, and lands. So my opponent also keeps 7, and they won the die roll. So they go Tarn into Underground Sea. Brainstorm. Main phase, turn 1. It doesn't matter. Just brainstorm away. So at this point I'm thinking that this is an odd play and that I'm up against a combo deck. I'm thinking that I'm actually thinking I'm up against the mirror, because I don't know a whole lot of other decks in Legacy where this play makes sense. I have, like, once in a blue moon done this if I thought that it would actually, like, if your hand is like missing one piece from just making 12 goblins on turn 1, or like just making the kill, then it's defendable, I think. But anyway, so they brainstorm and I'm just holding my breath here. And they just pass the turn. So okay. Still thinking it's a combo player that didn't get there, and this could either mean that they are ready. Like, what I really want here is I really want a probe. I don't get one, I get another therapy. So I could play Scalding Tarn, fetch an Underground Sea, cast Therapy blind, and then play out a Petal, and then, like, if I don't hit or whatever, even if I hit, I have another therapy. And that might be advisable, but it just irks me to go blind therapying and like burning a Lotus Petal. So I suppose it depends on how much I actually believe that I'm like dead next turn. What I like more is actually just playing out the trop and pondering, like hoping to find a probe, and then if I do, I'll probe and Petal therapy once and names and hit something for sure. It's a bit risky, but yeah, I do that. I don't get the probe, I get this, and so what I can do is I can like get the empty the Warrens, then on my next turn play a land, then I have 2, 3 with 1 Petal, 4 with the other, 5 with the Cabal Ritual. So I have 5 mana, so I can therapy and empty. Empty would be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would be 10 goblins, and I can flash back the therapy, and then on my next turn I can therapy again and then flash back. I like that. So this means not drawing the tutor, and I don't want to draw the empty now because, like, I don't want it to get discarded. I think I end up putting the tutor at the bottom. I think I should have drawn the tutor instead of the Volcanic Island, just in case I get discarded, because then there's a chance they'll take the tutor over, like, the Cabal Ritual, and that's actually, like, I want the ritual. So I think I should have done that, but I did this. I passed the turn, and they brainstorm again. So again, I'm still assuming the same thing. Like, I'm like, oh, they're just one piece away, and then I'm dead. So not really expecting to get there at this point, but they just passed the turn. They don't miss their land drop and are now brainstorm block, which is excellent for us. And it doesn't change anything, I don't think. So, like, here I name, like, so what I do here is I cast the Cabal Ritual first. And I think in retrospect, what I maybe should have done was just make 2 less goblins, and then, like, no, it doesn't matter, actually, never mind that, doesn't matter at all. I'm still blind therapying on the first hit. So no, this is actually, this was absolutely correct. I therapy and I named Infernal Tutor. And I don't see it, I see this bunch of spice, double Burning Wish, therapy, and see, this makes me really unsure what they're doing brainstorming on their first turn. So they have a 3rd brainstorm. So, like, on their first turn, what are they ever doing on turn 1? So presumably they had, like, the Underground Sea, a brainstorm, and some of these cards. So I'm not sure what they're ever gaining from brainstorming on turn 1. It cannot possibly be. If they're running petals, they can, like, hit petal probe, but that's not making a whole lot of sense to me. Okay, so this is, I think, pretty clear cut. I make the 10 goblins and then I snag the Burning Wish because I don't want. I suppose I could take the Brainstorm and then just on my next turn take the Burning Wish, because not taking the Brainstorm now makes my first therapy next turn worse, but I think it's just ultimately correct because I don't want them wishing next turn. I think it's actually, it's a little bit whatever. So yeah, do the Cabal Ritual, Petal, and the MT. Hooray. We flash back. Take the Burning Wishes. You'll move. Ponder. Okay. I'm just gonna be polite and assume that they didn't have Ponder on turns 1 and 2 and chose to Brainstorm instead. And they get a Misty. Okay, so their Brainstorm is live here, but yeah, so we're getting in there. And so we therapy, and they're obviously going to Brainstorm in response. And they concede, so I guess they found nothing. And actually them cracking the fetch land means that we have an incentive to not flashback this therapy because we have lethal, but whatever. Alright, so back for game 2 in a sec. Alright, so back for the second game. Sideboarding wise, I want to bring in the three Xantid Swarms and the Ad Nauseam, and now that I'm also running the 2 Flusterstorms, I bring those in. I actually don't like them that much against Show and Tell because it's very much not inconceivable that a Show and Tell opponent can just go, you know, island, City of Traders, Show and Tell, and then Flusterstorm is kind of insignificant. That said, it's a relevant enough card. I don't know, it kind of makes me like, I think maybe just the Xantid Swarms are enough, and it bugs me that I have to fiddle so much with bringing cards out. So I bring in the 2 Flusterstorms, 3 Xantid Swarms, and a Nauseam, and I don't bring in the Chain of Vapor, breaking my principle of always bringing in the Singleton Chain of Vapor against the Show and Tell decks, because I don't know, with this like Burning Wish sideboard as well, I can't really imagine them having like any room for the White Leyline, which is the premier reason to bring in the Chain of Vapor, or used to be back when that was a relevant card. I bring out like the Empty the Warrens because in spite of me just winning with it, I don't want goblins against another combo deck if I can help it. Bring out the second Tendrils, the second Pass and Flames. I think I shave a Thoughtseize, although I could be misremembering, and probably like the Grim Tutor just to make Ad Nauseam a bit better. So here we go. Yeah, I get this. This is a pretty sweet hand, I think. And they do Volcanic into a Ponder, and that's fine. So I think we just want to probe. They aren't likely to be running days. Okay, so double force is a little bit if. They aren't like. Yeah, I'm not sure. Double force omniscience and the ponder and 2 lands. So I mean, we have everything if we can just somehow get rid of their stupid force of wills. But just pass the turn for now. Just ponder again. I guess that's fine. Okay, so another Brainstorm. So I'm brainstorming here, but I suppose I could probe to get a card deeper, but I'd rather save the probe and then just like to get information later on. And well, see, this is interesting because like if we get another turn, we can like play the Petal, cast Xantid Swarm. They force it, and we Flusterstorm their force, and then they either force again, which will likely leave them with no mana or no counter spells. I mean, or they let it resolve, in which case we have a Xantid Swarm. So I think I put back like yeah, I actually end up being potentially punished here because I put back the Swarm and then like the Brainstorm, and then my plan is to next turn probe to build up Flusterstorm storm counters into the Swarm and then play it. And so I do that, and I play out the Petal just to be able to have Flusterstorm open in case they actually just go for it. And I think like they showed me therapies in game 1, so I think it's alright to not keep the Swarm in hand, but I didn't really think they would just get their show and tell, which they did. And see, even if I had the Swarm, I could put it into play, but I know they have Omniscience, so the chances of them just winning there and then are really big. So now I have to Flusterstorm, but this kind of puts the kibosh on my Xantid Swarm plan because I don't have the green mana. But yeah, they don't double force the 2 Flusterstorm counters, which is fair, I guess. They wouldn't have anything to put into play probably. So they just pass the turn. So I probe, and see, this is where like, oh, damn you, fate. They didn't have anything. So if I had actually if I hadn't had the Flusterstorm and then had kept the Xantid Swarm in hand, I would have won. Because, you know, as you can see, they would have just have they would just have 2 Omniscience in play, and I would attack with my Swarm and just win with all this gas in my hand. But it was not to be. So I just Brainstorm and see if I can get somewhere. And you're right, I get another land and a fetch land, so that's really important. I don't need another Cabal Ritual, I don't think. And I put back the Petal as well. So the thing is, though, I'm a little bit stuck because, like, at the moment, I really want the Swarm, but it's just gonna eat a Force of Will, and I'll sort of not really. I'll still need a discard spell, so I'm not sure if it would be correct to just play it out and take the Force, and then just have one less Force to deal with. Anyway, so they ponder. And just pass the turn. I fetch in my upkeep. Another Flusterstorm, I guess that's fine. So I'd even be happy to go back to my old plan of like playing the Swarm and then flustering, but the problem is I won't have enough storm count because I play the Swarm, that's 1. They force, that's 2. I fluster the Force, but they have, that's 3 copies of Flusterstorm and then 2 copies. What I'm actually just thinking about now is I could have played out the Lion's Eye Diamond for an extra storm count. That's actually what I should have done. Man. There you go. I just pass the turn. And they don't do anything, or wait, they do. Right, they therapy me. And I actually bullshit tap a blue mana to try and bluff a Brainstorm, which might have been a stupid move. They end up naming Flusterstorm. And there it goes. And they are ready to just completely bamboozle me on the next turn, as you'll see. Draw land, not really. I'm just. So they Brainstorm end of turn. Crack the fetch. And. Oh wait, it's not yet. So they dig through time. Hurrah. Here we go. Young Pyromancer. Out of the Omni deck against me. I honestly don't think that that's really that good. Although, that being said, it completely wrecks me this game. Because he also has the Therapy, and yeah, I just get destroyed. Therapy, and then Therapy 2 more times. That's basically the game. I play on like a good trooper, draw another tutor for an LED, but they still have the Force of Wills, so it's kind of doesn't really matter. Doing this in case I like blindly draw my Past Flames, I guess. I'm not even sure that's probably not good enough, but they can just keep. They're really awesome at drawing Cabal Therapies now. So yeah, that's it. I'm dead. They Force of Will. Get another token. And they swim me down to 6. And they just need to force this to get the lethal token. To get lethal on the board. So I'm dead. Kind of feel silly that I now see the I could have made that move. Not entirely, not that wasn't like a guarantee to win, but it it kind of depended if they had drawn additional counter magic or what. But that was definitely like a play I didn't see when I was playing. So I also feel like this kind of got away from me. I had a pretty like I had some nice prospects this game and they just never really came to fruition. Alright, so let's see game number 3. So back for game number 3, no changes to the board. I'm on the play. Yeah, that's a mulligan, no land, no instant mana source or initial mana source. Ugh, I guess I keep this. It feels really risky though. Going down to 5 also feels horrible. I guess like I probe here and just pray that I hit like a land. If I don't hit a land, I'm likely to go Petal Ponder. And that's really bad. But let's see. They keep their 7, I think, yeah. And so we probe and they show us this hand. Right. So I mean, it's a pretty good hand. Like their their Brainstorm lets them protect their hand from discard. They're only on 1 land, but like they have Brainstorm to fix that, and they have a Show and Tell and a combo piece, Burning Wish to win. Although I'm not dead in like 2 turns probably, but never know. Lady Luck smiles upon us. We get a land. Fetch land. So like I think my move here is like I could either go for an Underground Seed to Thoughtseize them, and then I'd have the Petal to just like Xantid Swarm. That might actually have been preferable. Instead what I do is I go get Tropical Island and I kind of pretty much twist their arm into Force of Willing, and they pitch a Brainstorm. So their hand is now Burning Wish and Brainstorm and Show and Tell and Red Blast, an Island. I think the Swarm is just like super valuable, so I think maybe I should have just not done that, but yeah. Still not terribly bleak at the moment. Yeah, they just go Island and pass. They don't have the red mana for their Red Blast. We draw another land. That's actually pretty good. And we want to lead off with the Ponder. Okay, so like we really want a ritual to couple with this tutor we have. We don't really want the second tutor necessarily. Things might get like. So what we could do is we could grab the ritual and then just fetch and Thoughtseize, or like grab the probe. Yeah, we grab the probe. We don't shuffle, and we just want to pass, sort of banking on them not just top decking a City of Traders if they even run those. And the next turn we get to probe a card deeper. Though it doesn't really matter, we could have just as well just taken the ritual. Yeah, I guess kind of it's the same. So at the end of turn Brainstorm. We also, I guess, we could have Thoughtseized them, but they had the Brainstorm to protect, so I don't know. I'm okay with not Thoughtseizing and just like risking them killing us. They need like the Omniscience as well, and a Soul Land. So now their Red Blast is live, I guess, unless they have another Young Parliaments or no. So they've draw and ponder. So we get the ritual. We get to crack a fetch, clear the top, and then probe. Okay. So they have shuffled away their Burning Wish. They're going with the Young Pyromancer plan, I guess. So we're going to Thoughtseize the most likely, depending on what we draw, and yeah, well, let's see. So we draw a land. It's not terrible, but it's not that great either. So we can go land. We have 3 lands. We have the Petal is 4, Dark Ritual is 6, and then we Thoughtseize, so it's 5, and Tutor. So we're not getting anywhere that way. So not doing that this turn. I think we do need to Thoughtseize them now. Because next turn they could go Young Pyromancer, Cabal Therapy, and yeah, it's a pretty real chance of them just hitting the Tutor and then flashing back, and it's just generally not like where we want to be. So we could also like take their Show and Tell, because they might just draw like an Emrakul or something, but excuse me, that doesn't seem all that realistic. So I think it's between the Therapy and the Young Pyromancer. If we take the Therapy, they play out the Young Pyromancer, but then they either have to just, no, they can't even do that. They top deck a cantrip or something, and then flash back the Therapy blindly. Whereas if we take the Young Pyromancer, then they Therapy us. Then what? I know the thing is, I remember that I ended up taking the Therapy here, but I'm not sure what my reasoning was for not just taking the Young Pyromancer. That seems, yeah, just not very good. Yeah, I think I should have just done that. I can't remember why. This is annoying. I remember at the time really tanking about this and getting to a point in my head where I actually had like an argument for doing it this way around, but I can't remember what it was. So we pass the turn, and they make a really baffling play. Truly baffling. I guess maybe they're trying to bait like a Flusterstorm. I don't have one, so that's okay. I think I'm okay. They drew Emrakul. No. Oh, actually, no, not that baffling. I forget. Never mind. This happens. Yeah, for a second I thought they show and told in the Young Pyromancer. Never mind. So that's pretty good. They sacrifice him a bit oddly. Yeah, so do your worst. They don't name either Tutor or Dark Ritual, but Lion's Diamond, so I guess I get a bit lucky there. And their last card in hand is a Red Elemental Blast, so cantrips are off the table for us. But if we draw like a diamond or a ritual, I think we win, or well, maybe we don't win. Ugh. Like if we drew a ritual, we could go for Ad Nauseam, but we're at 12, but that's still okay maybe. As is, we just draw a Therapy, so that sucks. We can take the Red Blast, and that means if we don't die on the next turn, we can draw a cantrip and not lose it. So they draw, drum roll. Nothing, just pass the turn. Okay, Brainstorm. Come on, lucky Brainstorm. Right, so this isn't really that great. We either like we I don't see how this wins us the game. Not counting that our opponent might have drawn like a counterspell of some sort. We basically need to not get Brainstorm locked at this point, so I think what I need to do is put back the land and the Tendrils, and then Infernal Tutor, hope not to have it countered, and then get another Dark Ritual, but this isn't great. I think this was the turn we needed that Brainstorm to give us, like, what we needed to go off and hope that the card in hand isn't a counterspell. That's a land or something, but so it doesn't get countered, we get a Dark Ritual and pass. And yeah, that's it. I think that's it. So all she wrote. Dig through Timmy. Therapy as growth. And that was just for good measure, I guess. See that we don't somehow have like something impossible that could let us Flusterstorm. Not that it would matter. So they get the Petals of Insight, which is an ancient card in this school of deck. So in case you don't, in case you haven't seen this before, what they do is they cast this, they look at the top 3 cards of their library and then put them on the bottom and return Petals of Insight. And they just do this enough times to sort of cycle through, and then eventually like you can get Burning Wish, and Burning Wish for like Tendrils or Grave Shot or something. They actually just end up getting their Emrakul. Excuse me. And I'm dead. So yeah, I feel like I got a little bit of a rough treatment. I don't want to be like ragging our opponent, but I think they played kind of oddly in game number 1. I also question them bringing in the young Pyromancers, but it was good enough to get there. And yeah, so 1-1, and thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back for round number 3.